Welcome to Life Skills with Louie. Today I'm giving a basic introduction to the resilience skills. If you haven't watched the introduction to the section you're in, Getting to Great, please watch this so that you can understand the framework of these skills and of why this section is so important. Also, if you haven't watched the introduction to the whole series of videos, please watch that as well because it orients you to the 5 sets of skills and when to use each of them. So to talk about resilience, this basic introduction is just showing you an overview of all the skills. When we're talking about responding to each of them, I will go into a lot more detail. But as you're assessing your basic current experience, assessing first, like teasing out your thoughts, events, actions, sensations, emotions, helps you to get a sense of where you're at right now. But then looking at these resilience skills over the last 24 to 48 hours gives you a sense of how well you've been taking care of yourself. This is helpful just to know. Okay, I guess I haven't been taking that good care of myself, but it can also be validating because you can realize like, oh yeah, it makes sense that I'm feeling a little strung out. If you're not practicing these skills well, or if life just won't let you, it's good to be aware that you will be more vulnerable to strong emotion, to acting out behaviors you don't want to act out. And if you're aware of that vulnerability, you may be able to prevent acting on it or getting lost in it. So to go over these specific skills. Again, the acronym is ABC, me, please. The ABC and the please skills you can find a lot in dialectical behavioral therapy about to go deeper on them, and I will also have a video going deeper on each of them. The me skills I added in, and I'll explain why. So the A of ABC, me, please stands for accumulate positive experience, also known as have fun. Fun is critical for morale in life. Every day, each of us needs to have some fun. Sometimes it's harder to have fun because of the emotional state we're in, but doing your best to have a little fun is so necessary for your well-being. B is building mastery. This is about the feeling of accomplishment. Figuring out how to get that feeling of accomplishment is a little challenging, and I'll talk about that in the video about that. But we all need to have that feeling of accomplishment. It's so important for confidence and for moving life forward. And so as we're going through these, just do a little quick assessment. How much fun do I feel I've had recently? How much accomplishment do I feel I've had recently? Coping ahead, the C, is about planning. How are you doing at planning? Looking forward the next day, 2 days, a week, thinking about challenging moments that are going to come up. How are you going to handle them? Planning is critical for having some sense of command over the parts of life that we do know about. Of course, there's always things that could come up that we have no sense of how we can know about it, but lots of things we are aware are coming and we just don't plan ahead. Mindfulness practice. The regular practice of mindfulness absolutely builds a sense of centeredness, a sense of resiliency, and is so important for wellness. Expanded consciousness. This I added in after I was doing some reading, and the author was talking about how we are at such a deficit in this culture with moments of expanded consciousness, where we feel a sense of what's bigger and connected to the larger world. There's not one way to have expanded consciousness, and we'll talk about ways to do it. But key things are being out in the world and involved in larger things, and learning. Learning is a great way to expand our consciousness to understand more about the world. The P and the L stand for physical and mental health care. If you have physical issues or mental issues that require care and support, are you receiving that care and support? And are you following the recommendations of your team? If you have medications to take, are you taking them regularly, or are you missing a lot of doses? How are you doing with your physical and mental health care? The first E, exercise in a balanced and intuitive way. Exercise is so important for physical health and mental health, and it doesn't have to be intense. It could simply be walking, which is probably the best exercise there is. But if you like other exercises, you can do them as well. Avoiding mood-altering substances. This has to do with bigger substances that cause more issues, like the ones we know about: alcohol, cocaine, opiates. But also, we'll talk about a little later that the more subtle substances can also have an effect. Your phone, watching shows, video games, any process can become something that you can feel somewhat addicted to. And if you find that that's an issue for you, the whole set of skills on connecting to clear will likely be very helpful. Sleep as well as possible is very important and a cornerstone of well-being, and very challenging for a lot of people. And we will talk about some tips and tricks. And if that's an issue for you, I encourage you to get more help. There are sleep specialists. You can talk with your primary care doctor. Look into your sleep and making it better. And finally, eating in a balanced and intuitive way. What we eat and how we eat has an effect on our mood, and we can learn more about that and have an effect on it. So focusing on eating and focusing on listening to our body. There's a whole practice of intuitive eating that I've found very helpful for myself and for others, and that could be really key for your emotional and mental well-being. So when you're doing your basic assessment of your resilience, you would just, maybe give yourself a rating 0 to 5, or notice ones that are really falling off. This is just a noticing practice at first. We're not changing anything yet in the process, but we're seeing our current level of resilience.